Great to meet you, Darren, former forthcoming TEDx speaker. Are you still on the website?
Well, yeah, you're always a TEDx speaker. You never be an ex-TEDx speaker.
There you go. So again, even the speaker of bringing the quality, so I'll hand it over to Darren now. I said that he want a nice presentation about a flip chart, so over to Darren.
Yep, I don't need a presentation, I don't need slides, I don't work with it. So the sad reality is the vast majority of people's websites never generate any leads or inquiries, or very little leads or inquiries. And in the next 10 to 15 minutes, I'm going to tell you exactly why that is and what you personally can do about it yourself so you don't have to use somebody else. So first off, why are you listening to me? Why am I standing here gobbing off at you? My name's Darren. I run a digital marketing agency called Engage Web. Next month we will be 16 years old, and I have been in this industry since 1998, which is the last century. I know I don't look old enough, do I? Thank you for saying it. I know you were thinking it. I started as the very first in-house web designer for Game, the high street retailer, and our largest client right now pays us just over £30,000 a month to run their digital marketing for them. Now that might sound like a lot, but they do that because in the first year of working with them, we 10x'd their inquiries. For those of you that don't speak marketing waffle, that means we increased their inquiries by a factor of 10 or 1,000%. That is why they are still with us now, and they pay us over 30 grand a month to do that. But it's okay, there's a lot of businesses involved there. They're in 4 separate countries, and there's about 600 to 700 different franchisees that we work for. So we do put the effort in for that. So I'm going to show you now why most businesses don't get anything through their website. Now, I warned you before I do this, I have been to art school. So if this looks a little bit weird, it's because I'm being artistic, not crap, okay? Important. You get a website. There it is. That is your website. That all look like your website? Yeah, agree? Yep. Horizontal? Oh, well, yeah, you're scrolling. It's on the phone. It's on the phone. So that's your website. That's what it looks like. Most websites have a logo either there or in the middle. They might have a menu across the top. They maybe have some sort of navigation down there. They have a bit of content here. That's meant to be square, by the way. Bit of content here, here. That's the website. You get your website. Do you get business through it? No. Doesn't tend to happen like that. Many websites will have, say, for example, they'll have an About Us page. Maybe they'll have, as I think you mentioned earlier, they'll have a Meet the Team page. Perhaps they've got a services page and a Contact Us page. Do you get business through it now because you've got those pages? No. So what do? You think, I need to get some business through my website. How do you generate business? What are the things usually people do? Well, they'll do PPC, pay-per-click, Google ads. Or they'll go Facebook ads. That's really easy. You post something on Facebook, Facebook's going to say, oh, you can reach an extra 10,000 people if you pay £5 and boost this post. Oh, that's going to send traffic to my website. That's going to work. Or maybe you'll do SEO, search engine optimization. That can be quite expensive depending on who you use. It could be a couple of grand a month. As I said, we charge one client over £30,000 a month to do it. That can be really expensive. So maybe you can do some PPC, or you do some SEO, or you do, let's say you might do newsletters, so email marketing. That's my attempt at writing, by the way. I should warn you, I am crap at writing on this. And that all sends traffic to your website. Does that generate inquiries? Does it? Some? Can do? By and large, no. By and large, no. Why? Because the websites tend not to convert very well. What can I do about this? What can I do about this? So you write some blogs. I've heard that works. I'll write some blogs for my website. People are always talking about writing blogs for the website. So let's pick an industry. Daisy, isn't it? Property. So let's see. So you could write a blog. I'm not going to write this down because I'm crap at writing, as I said. You could write a blog on how do I sell my house quickly, or how do I maximize my rental investment, or how do I get rid of problem tenants? And people may Google those blogs and come through. These are blogs, by the way, down here. They all create separate pages on the website. They all get people coming through on those blogs. You might get more inquiries from that. But chances are you probably won't. Because you want to be ranking in Google for things like, let's see, investor finance, or selling a house fast, selling a house above market value. You mentioned construction. What kind of construction?
Development. Retail development.
So retail development. So say developing flats into, or developing shops into flats, that kind of thing. We've got a couple of finance people in the room. It could be invoice factoring, or what's the other one, invoice factoring, invoice finance. And you might write a blog on what's the difference between invoice factoring and invoice finance, because they're very similar, but they are different. People don't know the difference. You write the blog, people will come in on it, writing on what's the difference between invoice factoring and invoice finance, but that doesn't mean you're going to get inquiries. So what you need to be doing is creating, rather than this page here, which is your services page, which most businesses will do, you have a separate page for, and I'm going to put IF, invoice factoring. And I now realize I'm going to write one for invoice finance, and that is also going to be IF. So imagine that is invoice factor, that is invoice finance. They're separate pages. Whatever service you have should have its own page. And they are called pillar pages, content pillars. And if you don't have those pages, you're not going to rank in Google for them. Because Google is not going to rank a services page that might have all of your services listed out, because a page can only really be optimized for one thing, one phrase, one service, one product. Question?
Yeah, so in the services, you'd have a drop-down with, so you'd have a page with 3 different clickable things. Like
Yep.
myself, I do headshots, personal branding.
Headshots, personal branding, and corporate. And do you then have a separate page?
For headshots and a separate page for personal branding, that's fine. That's fine. So you'd have your services page, but it would link off to these separate pages. Only when you have these separate pages do you stand Buckley's chance of actually ranking for them. Now, the trick is, let's say that's invoice finance and that's invoice factoring. You then have a blog on here on what's the difference between invoice finance and invoice factoring. When you mention invoice finance on that blog, you link to the invoice finance page. And when you mention invoice factoring in that blog, you link to the invoice factoring page. And every single blog that you write creates a new page to your website. But by cross-linking it with your pillar pages, the pages that you want to rank, you're telling Google, these are the important pages on my website. These are the services that I want to promote. These are the products that I want to promote. These are the pages I want people to come in on. The blogs by themselves are just blogs. You don't really want people coming in on those pages if you can at all help it. Because a lot of clients ask us, what's the point of blogs? What's the point of having them? What's the point of writing blogs? And if you're not doing this, there isn't any. And every single one of these that you write, that you create the link back to that, creates a separate link within your own website to this page, this service page, this pillar page. And the more links you have to the pillar page, the stronger they are, the more likely they are to rank in Google. Question again.
So if you did a blog on, say, LinkedIn,
Yes.
and did you link to the pillar pages?
So this is a blog on LinkedIn itself as a newsletter or a post on LinkedIn?
Yeah, rather than it being in your website. Because I feel like pointless writing a blog on what's the benefit of personal branding.
Yeah.
Because my client's not looking for that. They want the woman that's going to shoot their LinkedIn out.
That's a great point. That's a great point, and I'm glad you asked that. Yes, you can go to LinkedIn and you can write a newsletter on LinkedIn or an article on LinkedIn, and you can link that to your pillar page on your website. However, there's one problem with doing that. You don't own LinkedIn. You don't own it. I was at a seminar years ago with the marketing manager of Budweiser UK. And he gave this is probably about 2010, 2012. He gave this talk about how they invested millions in the UK to promote their Facebook page for Budweiser UK. Millions and millions invested to get more people to like this page. And he said, had we known what Facebook was going to do, we wouldn't have bothered. Because back then, if you post on your Facebook page, most of your followers will see it. But Facebook reduced the reach of the Facebook pages from 100% down to 50%, down to 40%, down to 30%, where it stands today at 4%. 4% of your followers will see what you post on Facebook. You don't own it, you don't control it. Facebook wants you to spend money on ads to get any kind of reach. So if you waste money trying to build up your social media, it's not yours. LinkedIn could pull you like that. Google could pull you like that. Facebook could pull you like that. Twitter, they could pull you quicker than that. They got taken down the other day with a DDoS attack. A distributed denial of service attack brought the whole service down across the world. Everybody had tears for Elon Musk. What a shame. So you shouldn't be spending the time on that. You want to be doing it on your website. Because you say people don't Google for it, they do. They may not Google to what's the benefits of personal branding, but they will Google, how can I take a good photograph of myself? How can I make myself look better in pictures? What are the best poses for a branding photo? They will Google that. And that's the kind of thing you can write content on, which will take back to your personal branding page, which is the service that you do. But even with that, people coming in on the blogs, coming in on your page, are you going to get loads and loads of inquiries? No, probably not. Because most people don't want you phoning them up. They don't want somebody that does invoice factoring giving them a call. Who'd want that? They don't want an accountant phoning them up. They don't want Pete calling them about a sudden death party. Has anyone seen the film The Matrix with Keanu Reeves? So Keanu Reeves plays Neo, and Carrie-Anne Moss plays Trinity. And they go into a virtual world where they've all got like almost godlike superpowers. They're amazing. And there's a scene where they just rescue Morpheus, played by Lawrence Fishburne, from being tortured, and they're on top of a skyscraper. And they see a helicopter and they want to escape. And Trinity gets on the comms to Tank, who's in the real world. I need a pilot's license for whatever that helicopter model is. And he says, 1 second, presses a few buttons, downloads the pilot's license into Trinity's head. Suddenly she can fly that helicopter. That is what your website visitors want when they come to your website. They expect to be able to immediately solve the problem that you say you can solve for them like that without doing any work, which is what you need to do. And the solution, quite simply, is for you to create what's called a lead magnet, which could be a PDF, it could be a video, it could be an online portal, it could be a one-to-one consultation call with you, something of perceived value that they will give their details for. So it could be 50 poses you can use for corporate photography or branding photography. It could be 17 ways you can maximize the value of your home without spending any money. It could be ways you can increase revenue within your business. It doesn't matter what it is. It's something that your target client wants. So when they are on your corporate photography page, they are offered corporate photography poses as a lead magnet. Important point, a lead magnet is only a lead magnet if you get the lead. They have to give you contact details for it, which would be name, email at bare minimum. Possibly name, email, phone number. Do not ask for the phone number unless you're going to use it. Do not ask for the phone number unless you justify why you want it, because you'll put people off. You could, for example, say, I'll send you the link via WhatsApp, so we need your phone number for that. Or we'll put you into a WhatsApp group, or some reason why you want it. If the phone number is important for you, you have to give them a reason why. And I suspect with finance, commercial, accounting, the phone number is going to be important. With photography, it might be less so. The email may be sufficient. That email would then go into your database. And there are loads of database providers you can use, things like MailChimp, ActiveCampaign, Infusionsoft, which is now called Keep, Mailgun. There's hundreds of them. They all do a similar thing. They all have escalating costs depending on how much you actually use them. But you own it. It's your data. If you've got 5,000 followers on Twitter, that ain't yours. That's useless to you. You need to get them off social media and into your database that you control. And the only way you can do that is with things like a lead magnet, which you can promote. Again, you can use video. I do this quite effectively. I have video on YouTube promoting specific services, specific products that you can do, things that you can solve. The descriptions of the video and the call to actions within the video link through to a landing page here, which tells you how you can solve it. When they're on there, they want to know how to do it straight away. They get offered a lead magnet on how they can solve it, which they expect to be able to do just like that. Spoiler alert, they're never going to do it. They, in fact, are probably not going to read your lead magnet. Most businesses I speak to about it spend days, weeks, months crafting their lead magnet like they're writing their magnum opus. Nobody bloody reads the thing. Don't waste your time. Doesn't really matter what's in it. What's important is the cover and the title and what you say it's going to do for them. The reality is probably nothing. But what it's actually going to do for them is give their details to you so that you can solve the problem for them, because that's what they want.
It's like taking the 15% of your first purchase, isn't it?
That's a lead magnet.
That is the perfect lead magnet. Yeah, so you'll go on to sites like John Lewis or Marks and Spencer's or even Papa John's, Domino's, and they'll give you 5%, 10%, 15% off your first purchase if you join our mailing list. Yeah. That is a perfect lead magnet. So for anyone in e-commerce, it's a great way to do it. If you're not in e-commerce, you have to be a bit more creative, and you have to create something of value that they're going to want. And once you have that, promoted through that, backed up by the blogs, Google will send you traffic here, through to here, through to here, and put people into your database. And I've just dropped my pens, but it doesn't matter. I can go on without it. If you want to run PPC, if you want to run SEO, if you want to run email campaigns, fire them through to here, into your database. Simple. Do not do any of that without that, because it's not going to work. And as a final point, 'cause I'm probably running over time, I usually do. Am I all right in a minute? As a final point, one of our clients, a company called Chester.com, they advertise restaurants, hotels, venues around Chester, as you'd expect, Chester.com. They had a box on the front of their website that said, subscribe to our newsletter. This is not 2002. Nobody subscribes to your newsletter because nobody wants your spam. They had 151 people on that newsletter list after about 2 years, which is rubbish. Just before Christmas, mid-November, we put up a lead magnet on the site, which was a calendar event of all the Christmas activities in Chester. Some of you may well have downloaded it. It involved which time the Christmas markets open, when the Christmas markets close. You downloaded it? No. When the Christmas Makers Market opens, which is different, when the Christmas light switch on is. It was a simple 2-page piece of paper as a calendar with all of the events. After 5 weeks, they had over 7,000 people on their mailing list. 7,000. And all of those people were interested in what goes on in Chester. And they sell advertising to places like this, which they can then use to charge them to send emails out about the offers to those 7,000 people in Chester. It is that simple. Do that, you'll get the business. Don't do that, you won't. And that is something you can do yourself. Any questions?
So you're saying newsletters are old-fashioned?
Absolutely not. No.
Because I was just going to say, what are you going to do with the 7,000 emails?
Do you know what? I am really glad you asked that as well. Brilliant. If you build 7,000 people on your database because of this, and you sit on it and do nothing, you're wasting it. If you then email them 6 months later and go, oh, I've got an offer on, they'll be like, who the hell are you? I don't remember signing up for this. Unsubscribe. You need to keep that list warm. You need an automation sequence welcoming them. First email comes out straight away. Maybe they get another one 3 days later. How did you find our calendar that you downloaded, or our guide on portrait poses, or whatever it may be? Then another one a week later, and send out regular emails, keep in regular contact with them. If you don't do that, it goes cold. They will unsubscribe from you. You have to do that. But the really fast thing you can do that will get you leads, and so few people do this, lots of people have these and have them working really well, but they still don't do this, is to phone them up almost immediately or the following day or within 2 days and ask them a very simple question. How did you find our document on doing portrait poses? How did you find our guide to increasing value within your property? And almost every single person will say, I haven't had a chance to look at it yet, because they haven't and they've no intention of looking at it. They downloaded it and thought, that's going to solve their problem just like that. That is your opportunity then to tell them, what prompted you to download it in the first place? They will then proceed to tell you what their problem is, which coincidentally is exactly what you solve. Yes? One question.
7,000 people already there,
Yeah.
but they weren't pulling them in to grab their emails, etc. And then when you implemented the calendar, they then...
These were visitors going to the website, interested in what Chester.com does, but were not putting their name on join our newsletter because they had no intention of joining a newsletter. But then when they were offered a calendar in exchange for their details, yes please, they'll have it. That's the point. If you've got great SEO, you've got great traffic coming to your website and you don't have this, you're not capturing it, you're wasting it. Get this first, then do that, then you'll maximize what you get. If you do it first, you won't get the data. Simple as that. Complete waste of money. Okay?
Thank you very much.
Perfect, thank you.